This is such a good series. I've really had a lot of fun, and just after this episode, it really just reminds me that it's getting closer. It's getting closer and closer to when Dr. Stone will be coming to an end, when we'll be seeing the end of the anime, and hopefully, I really do hope we get a Season 2 announcement before the final episode of Dr. Stone arrives, because I think many can agree with me that this has truly been such a fantastic journey from start to finish, and even though some might not like the premise of this series since it's not like a battle shonen, it really has been a shining gem amongst, I say, shonen anime, but also Weekly Shonen Jump and manga. It's truly a good series, and watching this episode made me feel sad because our journey with Senku and Chrome and all that is going to be coming to an end very soon, at the very least for anime watchers. But okay, with that out of the way though, this episode, it's crazy to think just how much progress our characters have made and what Chrome did in this episode that honestly, it really just goes to show no matter what you do, no matter what age of technology it is or what age of humanity where we're at, you'll always have individuals that rise up and seek to create things out of curiosity, and they'll just come up with a weird idea and it turns out to be something incredible. And even if someone's already thought of it before, to be able to come up with this idea without, anyone else telling you any details on it, it's incredible. And what Chrome did with our craftsman was something that honestly is just mind-blowing, because he theoretically invented like hydroelectricity, and he also is one that would basically lead the way to a modern civilization, to be able to have technology, to be able to have, let's say, just factories, etc., to be able to get products out. If it wasn't for, let's say, electrical, we wouldn't have today's society at all. Honestly, when you really think about one of the most important aspects of today's society, besides people and the obvious stuff like food, water, etc., electricity is extremely important. It really is. Like, once again, as Dr. Stone tried to kind of tell us a long time ago, was that when the day humanity invented the light bulb, the day that we had light for the first time to be able to artificially create it, not through fire, but through, let's say, a light bulb, it's the day we conquered the night. Because if there was one thing that always kind of separated humanity from being able to conquer the world, was the fact that at nighttime we had to hide in our houses and just hide from the darkness because anything could be out there that could harm us. And ever since those days, that era of being able to really just conquer the night with light, etc., I guess civilization really has never been the same. But then you can also say about electricity as well. Without today's electricity, I don't know how anyone would operate. I mean, think about this. Every little thing you do, at the very least, once per day, you use something that uses electricity. To the computer screen or whatever phone device you're watching this video currently with, to getting up in the morning, to an alarm, turn on your car and go to, go driving to schoolwork, etc. Everybody uses electricity in some form or fashion, which is interesting when you think about it. Without electrical energy, we really would not be the same. And what Chrome did, to get back into the main point, he's someone that is pretty much invented something that took so long to get to that point, and he basically laid the way for modern civilization. And it's crazy, honestly, because it's a major, major thing for him to invent something basically like hydroelectrical power. It is something that you kind of see in today's age, not as much, but you do see how hydroelectrical energy is used, but obviously nuclear power is one of the main aspects of energy nowadays that we use, but it's the point. But to go a little bit further, though, I just want to say that Chrome really just goes along with the main premise that Senku tried to set up, is that if he was to, say, die, he would still have someone to replace him. There would still be someone out there that could theoretically get to the point where Senku is currently at. Example, for instance, if, let's say, Senku wasn't even here, he died, okay? Chrome would have advanced civilization, maybe not as fast as in this anime, but he would have advanced civilization because of how much he loves science, and eventually these small little things that build upon each other would have eventually led to where, modern day civilization's at right now. And that's kind of the main point here, is no matter what you do, no matter how, you reset humanity how many times, as long as if we have our brain and we have the ability to just be curious and think about things and put things together, humanity will always probably get to the point to where we're at right now. It might be some slight differences, but overall, it will be pretty much the same, I think, at the end. And, I mean, it reminds me a lot, honestly, of Gurren Lagann as well, if you've ever watched that series. I mean, it's a very popular series, but it kind of reminds me of how civilization's always just advancing. It's very quick, rapid growth and all that, and that's pretty much what's happening here. So, yeah, just points to Chrome. He did a fantastic job with being able to do something like that, because the will to just hydroelectrical, it's not an easy feat by any means. And I think people are really going to underappreciate just how crazy that really is, and just how that's really going to help out Senku's production of making phones, making batteries for phones, charging things, etc. Without that electrical current like they have a constant energy source now without having to use manpower. They just need to maintain the will and make sure it doesn't rot, etc., or storms don't break it. So, dropping that for now, let's talk about the other aspect of this episode, which was cotton candy. It's honestly just amazing to me how Dr. Stone can really just have something as lighthearted as, let's say, cotton candy, turn into something that is just truly scientific and actually makes, I think, many of us that are watching this learn quite a bit. Because when you think about the process of making cotton candy, okay? Well, I think even if you don't truly know how to make it, I think everybody knows that there's usually a machine that's kind of twirling constantly, and you see how someone sticks like a stick or whatever inside of it, and it kind of whirls around the stick, and you have your cotton candy you can eat. I've seen it at carnivals when I went there, you know, when I was a kid back in Florida, so I know that how, like, some of the machines look or how they work. And something as simplistic as that, like a little rotating little machine to make cotton candy, is something that could actually be used to make something like wire, something like golden wire to be able to use for phones, etc. It's kind of incredible, honestly, because it's ingenious to be able to use something like cotton candy, which could be relatively a fun activity for many, and turn it into something that's very scientific and allows you to progress humanity's technology in such a way that, honestly, you wouldn't really think about the correlation between cotton candy and gold wire. It's just mind-blowing. So, I do think that Dr. Stone, once again, just proves just how great of a series it is to be able to do something like that, to kind of have something lighthearted and teach you something, but also get the science stuff too as well. And it's just very crazy to think just how similar sometimes food and science can really be. And as I kind of talked about a long time ago, food kind of is in its own way another extension to science. It's literally just mixing ingredients together and creating something that really has a chemical reaction of flavors. And when you really think about food, it's kind of like being a scientist. I mean, yes, there are different names, you got a chef, etc. But overall, fundamentally, it's kind of the same. It's like you're putting stuff together, trying to figure out reactions of things, and that's what scientists do. And here you go with, you know, the whole thing with cotton candy. So it makes sense why Senku would also know how to make stuff like this too. So, anyways, dropping that, let's, talk about the girl, the one that's been stalking them, watching them, basically giving information over to Tsukasa if anything happens. So, the girl that, you know, was recently introduced, that is obviously working for Tsukasa, not working for our group, she is just sitting there in the distance, seeing what they're doing, seeing if there is any radical change or movement when it comes to, let's say, technology, and obviously there was a big change, and she's probably going to find out about it, but I do think that the whole situation with the cotton candy scene holds a lot of significance, and Senku made a very, I guess, crucial gamble. It was a very big gamble that he made, because he knows that when it comes to people from our society, being able to kind of disconnect from it is just not something that is relatively easy. As much as Tsukasa's motive seems interesting and all that, and people are joining him and wanting power, etc., it really isn't something that really makes a lot of sense. Because, example, if someone was to present you with two different paths, A, you can live in the stone world, and basically, yeah, you can have a harem, which I know many would choose, but you can live in a stone world, and you can just have, you know, a primitive society not really having to worry about much. Or you can have a society filled with technology, fun, food, etc. I'm going to be honest with you, I would choose the world with technology, science, etc. because I'd be able to have great food, I'd be able to have great fun, and just be able to do things that you wouldn't normally be able to do in a primitive world. And I just think that many from the era, the old era, that has been, you know, depetrified, will definitely want to lean towards that, and it's just kind of crazy that there's so many that would join Tsukasa, but I think more might become turncoats as time goes on. And I think that the girl that ate the cotton candy in this episode might potentially do that, and hear me out the reason why I think that is because soon as that scene happens, soon as she eats cotton candy, you see to where there is a musical cue in the background. It's very quick, it's very short, but it really sets a tone and gives us an answer to what was going on with her mind without really even having to have dialogue. And that was the fact that as soon as she ate that cotton candy, you heard some form of festival music or a carnival, whatever it may be. You basically heard music that fit the tone with cotton candy. And it seems like maybe there is some form of connection with a festival slash cotton candy to this girl. And if that is the case, it would make sense that if it could spark a memory from the past, she might long for it and want more of it. Probably a pleasant memory, either of family, her brother, a lover, etc., or just a good time when she went out to see the world, etc. Whatever it may be, it just seems like the whole cotton candy thing was a link to kind of reawaken something that she forgot about in the past and realize what she's been missing as she continues to go down the path with Tsukasa. But that's just my personal opinion. It looked like that from the way this episode was trying to present it. So, anything else left to kind of talk about? Honestly, I do not think so. I think I kind of covered everything that needed to be covered. It was an amazing episode, as always, for Dr. Stone. Really, there's not really any bad episode for the story. I really don't think there has been one. There's been sad episodes, funny episodes, serious episodes, but I don't think there really has been a quote-unquote bad episode. So, yeah, I mean, great episode. Let me know your thoughts and comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And also, if you want to continue to get notified, make sure, you do this for other YouTubers that you care about as well, because it doesn't always work if you hit the subscribe button, so bell icon's usually mandatory at this point in time on YouTube. But even if you don't do it for me, at the very least, do it for YouTubers you care about, because it does help us all out, and especially with the whole change with the Copa or Capo, however you pronounce it, thing, it's just big, a lot of difficulties right now being on YouTube. But yeah, anyways, I love you guys. Sorry, you have a good night or day wherever you live. Be safe. Chibi out.